Every ugly tree that we at some point in our life are faced to chop down started out as a seed that was planted at some point. Who has started chopping down that tree?
I'm Patrice Washington, and this is the Redefining Wealth podcast, where authenticity leads to alignment and abundance. Join us each week as we peel back the layers on what wealth truly means and dive into conversations that inspire, connect, and empower you to live your richest life. Get ready to challenge the status quo. It's time to redefine wealth for yourself. You're listening to the Redefining Wealth podcast. Hey there, it's Patrice Washington. This is the space that you come to each and every week to learn more about what it means to chase purpose, not money. And if I sound pumped up, it's because I am. I am in the glow, the beauty, the fullness, just the glitter, as my girl Lacey Green calls it, of Redefining Wealth Live 2024. Oh my God, it was such a vibe. It was such a beautiful space. And indeed, we are dubbing this event the homecoming for purpose chasers from all over the world. This is the space that you want to be in when you want to be seen, heard, loved, affirmed, equipped, encouraged, motivated, inspired, empowered, transformed. What a beautiful space. And it wasn't even all women. We had a few good men in the building. And even to see how everyone came together to really go all in for their transformation was absolutely beautiful. You know, it never matters how much work it is and how much sacrifice it is. And quite frankly, you may go into doing live events of this scale and go, oh my goodness, I'm never doing this again. Like, I don't know how people put on 30,000 person events. I just don't. But I know that I came out of Redefining Wealth Live 2024 absolutely committed to Redefining Wealth Live 2025. When you see the breakthroughs, the sisterhood, and it's not even a sisterhood anymore, just the bonding that happens in a space when you bring together such powerful, like-hearted, open to transformation people together. And it feels like, oh my gosh, we've all known each other forever. And for me to be on the stage and look out and know that I personally know so many of the stories, that I could call so many people by name, that I remember their stories when they were in Command the Stage, or the first time they launched something in Purpose to Platform, or the breakthrough they had in the Institute for Redefining Wealth, or some big thing we celebrated, or a small thing we had to support them through, and Mastery and Momentum. To see the people that I have served over these last several years, virtually all in one place, it does nothing but warm my heart. And then to see them come together, that's what it's all about for me. Now, let me tell you a highlight from 2024 already. I am still getting messages about how impactful and powerful this conversation was. Egypt Sherrod came through and blessed us and did her thing. And that's my girl. And she literally shared things that she said she's never shared anywhere else. So we have some exclusive stories about her journey and her rise in purpose and everything that she's doing in the world. And what a blessing it was to us all. We were able to stream for the Institute for Redefining Wealth in the app. And so the folks who got to watch it in the app were absolutely blown away. And I'm excited. I get to share this conversation with you here on the podcast. So you are in for a treat. Egypt Sherrod is a powerhouse real estate broker, designer, author, life coach, and serial entrepreneur. She's best known as the host and executive producer of HGTV's hit show, Married to Real Estate, which garnered more than 19 million viewers in its first season. Since her 20s, Egypt has been building her career as a wealth educator and real estate expert. She is the founder and CEO of Indigo Road family of companies, which includes Indigo Road Realty, I use them to sell my house, a residential real estate brokerage, Indigo Road Design, and Indigo Road Home Furnishings. Most recently, Egypt received an honorary doctorate in humane letters from Stillman College. She is the NAACP Image Award and Critics' Choice Award nominee, and also had the honor of ringing the bell at the New York Stock Exchange. My girl's the mother of 3 girls and a wife to her loving husband, Mike Jackson. Without further ado, here is Egypt Sherrod in a fireside chat at Redefining Wealth Live 2024.
Hi, Patrice.
Hi, E.
Thank you for all the kind words you said while I was in the back. And it's, you know that you're aligned when those that you equally think as highly of you, because I can't tell you how many times I'm like, Patrice is my friend. Thank you.
Egypt has not only been my friend, and on the Redefining Wealth podcast, she's also been literally my realtor. So if you've ever seen Egypt on HGTV, make some noise.
That little show. No. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate you.
So I always tell people when I mention that you were my realtor, I'm like, I just want to be clear. How she behaves on television is not for television. When I was buying my home here in 2019, coming back from California here, we flew out here for a few days. And you were just big and pregnant with Harper Sky.
7.5 months pregnant?
7.5 months pregnant. Yeah. And she still was walking into every house just as like, so what we could do here? So get the vision. And I'm like, E, do you want to sit down? Like, is it okay? And she was like, no, you have to have the vision, and taking us through and all the things. And then when I came to the realization after listening to that Londrell meditation, let nothing hold you, let nothing bind you, let nothing ensnare you, I felt that nudge, like you need to release this house. And as much as I love the house and we had done all this work in it and my office was amazing and I sketched
It
the
really
kitchen.
was amazing. Her office was insane, guys.
Yeah.
It was, yeah.
I sketched the kitchen that I wanted and all these things. And then I felt like I have to prioritize peace over appearances. Mm-hmm. And I had to release it. Mm-hmm. The first person that I sent a text message to was Egypt. Mm-hmm. And I was like, friend, I gotta let it go.
Mm-hmm. And God gives it all back tenfold. Always, mm-hmm. Right? We can't be binded by things, material things. That's the devil's tools. That's what he used to keep us and harness us. But we can declare freedom when we let go of everything, and step out into the bigger plan. And I just, I don't want to say nothing, but I saw you walking next to a mighty fine gentleman, y'all were a good looking couple, in my opinion, tenfold.
Egypt, I'm not about to play
won't
with you.
Won't he do it?
Willie, won't he? Yes. No, Egypt knows. I actually laughed with her one time. I said, I wanted to date someone tall. And people kept telling me, what do you think? Tony, what do you think? Like, you're over 40. Who are you? And I said, you will not beat me out of the desires of my heart. You will not make me dumb down my desires. I have the right to be radically honest about what I truly desire.
But more so, what we speak, we give power to. And so if we call small things to our lives, if we tell untruths about just how powerful we are, if we sit back and play like we're in the fold and I only deserve just enough. I only want this, God. I only want that. I only, do you know who you are?
And whose you are.
Hey,
that's my friend. Hey. Do you know who you are and whose you are?
Yeah, put in your order. Because if you only knew how powerful you are and what words you speak and what you call to yourself, we are gods. We, and I want to define that. Just know that the Lord and Savior is my God. But we were also created in his likeness. And I think that when we read the word, when we see likeness, we think I must look like, right? Versus spiritual power that we possess. manifestation power that we possess, the power to speak a thing and it happened. Part the Red Sea and it happened. That's the power. That's the likeness that we possess, but we have forgotten generationally who we are. Truly, I believe.
Yeah, I agree. So how have you come into this awareness to remember who you were always, but I know it hasn't always been this way?
That's a loaded question.
I know.
Friend. How much did you tell these folks? How much do they really know? Look, I think life's experiences are not by accident. You know, nothing was ever supposed to be easy, right? For any of us, we're going to have our own trials, tribulations, the things that define us, that force us to make the tough decisions about not just where we are, but where we want to be, not just who we believe ourselves to be, but who we were called to be. And it's in those moments of definition, the decisions that we make, those hard, tough ones, that sometimes require us also to get out of our comfort zone, which is close to death. Don't put me no place comfortable, baby. Put me on the plastic couch, because I will sweat and I will get up. But it's those moments, right, where we dig deeper, where for me, it has pulled me closer to God in those moments where I did fall flat on my face, you know, where I failed. But my thing is, I failed good though, because I failed hard. And if you're going to fail up, fail up. Where I can sit back and say, yes, that was like a miserable failure, but all these years later, I would do it again just so I could learn that very important, integral lesson, that defining moment in my life that changed the trajectory of where I was going and who I thought I was going to be. Listen, let me tell you something. I used to be on the radio first some of you guys from New York, Philadelphia. Okay, so don't hold it against me. So when I was on the radio, I started at age 18. I was the youngest music director in the country while also being on the radio and trying to work my way through college. I didn't have a mentor at the time. I didn't even know to seek out mentorship, right? And the one thing about the youth is they think they know it all. They got it all figured out. And we sit back and say, all right, I'll be here when you need me. But I was that person, young, headstrong, and thought I knew it all. And you know, it was because of me instead of because of his grace. So I was that person and had to learn many things through the school of hard knocks. I started down a path that was more about materials, goods, status, glitz, glamour, all of that. And it was really taking me towards death, so much that, well, I know this is being recorded, but it's all out. I went on a date with the damn devil, y'all. I went on a date with So let me just say this. I pray for his healing. I pray for his journey. No one really knows what is going on. I can simply say that during that time in my life, not because I went on that date, but during that time in my life, I could not look myself in the mirror and feel good, feel like I loved her, like I love this woman inside, because every single day that I went in to do a job that was depreciating other people's worth, and truly that's what it had become. I went into radio giving news and came out giving dirty gossip to where I felt like I needed a shower every single day. And my job, my ratings, my bonuses depended on how much I tore others down. I hated that job, but that was the job that put me on billboards in Times Square. That was the job that, made me famous. I wouldn't say famous, infamous, maybe, right? There's a difference, and I had to, in that moment, undo myself. I sat on this date and I looked up and I swear I saw only blacks of his eyes. And I got up and excused myself to go to the bathroom and looked in the mirror and was like, I don't know what I just saw, who I just saw. I don't know what you're trying to tell me. I never went back to the table. I escaped out the back door, got into a cab. Kim is in here. She'll tell you the truth. Got into a cab. That was on a Thursday. Called out of work on a Friday. Sat in my house on a Saturday. Threw myself on an altar on a Sunday. And changed my career after that. changed my career. Now, you don't just change, trust me, you still need to pay your bills and everything, but you realize, hopefully you're as aligned with yourself to know that when you've hit rock bottom, there ain't nowhere else to go, right? So I pray that your rock bottom has already hit, right? And if it hasn't, it needs to, because your blessings come after. They truly do. We have a choice. I'm sorry, you're supposed to be talking to me.
No, you're doing good, sis. Go ahead.
I wanted to, instead of tearing people down, I really wanted to dedicate my life to lifting people up. You know, we're more alike than we are different. We truly are.
Yes.
We all want to be loved. We all want to be appreciated and valued. Yes?
Yes.
We all want to be rich. No, I'm not. But
Yes.
What's the name of this? Redefining wealth.
Yes.
Redefining wealth.
They want to be rich too.
Money's not rich though, necessarily, right?
Yeah.
How are you rich? Are you rich in friendships? Are you rich in character? Are you rich in spirit? Are you rich in, come on now. Hey.
Yeah.
I'm rich. That's the kind of rich that we all want to be, right? Okay, so it may require sometimes for you to undo everything you've built. It's all a facade anyway, right? Peel back those layers, dig deeper. Remember, we only have a short period of time here to make a difference. You're on assignment. And I didn't realize that, but there was a reason, a greater reason why this little girl from Philadelphia, anybody from Philly? Never.
They may have left. Though.
I always say, anybody from New York? Ooh. Anybody from Philly? Crickets. But this little girl from Philadelphia, Broad and Olney, it was kind of the hood, right? We can relate to that. My mom had me when she was 17, had my sister when she was 18. We grew up on welfare. We didn't know anything about wealth. Why this little girl, right, is now a voice in the space. It is not by mistake. And so I had to take ownership of that. Recognize that I have a platform and God put me in a position to speak power and speak life. And I can either deny that and sit back lazy and collect checks and feel like literally an empty vessel. And that's how I felt. Or I can embrace all that life has to offer. It uplift every soul that I touch, love on people. Everybody just needs love. Yeah. Even the people that you think don't like you, even the people that you're intimidated by or you think are intimidated by you, everybody wants the same thing. And if we can recognize that and connect on that basic level, then our whole world opens up, right? Mm-hmm. I got sister girlfriends now. I had no one when I was up on that damn billboard, okay? Because nobody likes somebody that's tearing everybody else down. They might want to be your friend because of where you can get them and what you can do for them. But after that, who you gonna call? What did you ask me? Girl, she know.
This is so good.
This is called, I'm approaching 50 and I don't know when to stop. Okay.
No, this is so good. And those are those things, Egypt, that people wouldn't know just by looking at you. Mm-hmm. And that's why I think it's so important. And I've known you for maybe 10 years now or something like that, but more closely the last few years. And I wouldn't have known those stories because the only Egypt Sherrod that I know has been loving and has been kind and has been a hugger and what do you need and all the things and been so
If you
open.
come in 3 feet of me, you're getting a hug.
You're getting a hug. So that's all I know. So let me ask you this. When we are evolving and transforming in people who met us in one chapter of our lives don't really believe that we have the capacity to be who we are showing ourselves to be now. They're like, that's fake. I knew her back when. How do you continue to transform and let them honor that experience but not tear you down in the process?
That question might make me cry, but I'm going to try to answer it, okay? That was a very big reason why I relocated out of New York, because I wanted to be new. I wanted to start over. I wanted to be able to define myself. Every day that I woke up, I wanted to be able to do better, be better. But you're right. I had made such a big imprint already in one field, and here I am starting another one. I'd already made such a big personality imprint that we remember when you said, what? it was a low-level vibration that I was existing in. And if we want something different for ourselves, if we want our happy, whatever that is for you, you are in charge of getting it. And it may uproot you. You may have to look some of the same folks in the eye every day. You don't have to convince them if you made right with yourself and made right with God already. I kind of adopted, when I moved here to Atlanta, there was some of that kind of carried with me. Because when I moved, my family and I had a plan for opening our own real estate businesses, and which you see now. But I also had to take a job in order to build the business. So I took a job at here. And it was exactly what I was trying to get myself out of in New York. But, you try with a 2-week-old baby on your back and a husband that's betting on you and left his career. You try saying, we're just going to move with nothing. You see how that goes. No plan. We just going to go because God said it. So I had to take the job, right, to secure the benefits, to secure the salary that would allow for us to smoothly transition into this new chapter, this new phase. And when I got there, how much time do I have? Because I really want to tell you, but I don't know if I can really go into the story. So when I got there, it was more of the same, right? But also this expectation. Even before I got there, I told my program director, that's not who I am anymore. I don't want to do that. Something new is happening with me, and I think that it's richer, and I think it's going to be more received by people for me to tell my truth, about where I'm going and to shine my light. And he's like, yeah, I want you to do all that and be all that. We want you to be every woman. We want the Essence Magazine woman, And when I got there, he was like, what are you doing? This is not why I hired you. I wanted you to be like Wendy Williams Jr. And I was so broken inside because I felt trapped. Has anybody ever felt trapped before? Right? And here I am. I still got this baby that I'm literally breastfeeding, and a husband that's watching her. He's waiting for me to build up so he can have space to build up. And I'm stuck right in this space. I happened to go on a trip to Savannah, Georgia, because I was also filming Property Virgins at the time. Do you remember Property Virgins? I got a funny story about that too. But so we were in Savannah. So I'm splitting my time between Atlanta and Savannah, filming and on the radio. And while I'm in Savannah, my makeup artist, Bridget, you know Bridget, right? Do you remember Bridget? She knocks on my door at about 10:30 at night, and she goes, I need you to come with me. I'm going down to the riverbank to go speak with a psychic. I said, baby, I don't mess with psychics. I don't need nobody speaking nothing over me. No, but I don't want you walking by yourself at 10 o'clock. So I'll walk with you. So we got there, and already I see the price sheet, $75 to reach your future. I'm like, Bridget, what are you doing, girl? But I'm going to sit here and wait with her because I don't want her to walk. So all I hear is howling in the back. And then all of a sudden, it was her. She was like crying and purging. And I'm looking at the ceiling, and I see little angels, and I start seeing biblical scriptures around the room. And I was like, this is a really different kind of psychic. Right? But I'm not. Well, when the woman comes out, and Bridget comes out, she's like, oh, I feel so good. I feel a weight off of me. The woman comes out, and she has this energy belt around her waist. And she goes, you're next. I said, oh, no, I'm good. I just came to walk her. She said, no, you're next. She goes, your guardian angels came in before you did. And I'm supposed to speak with you. I said, no, I don't like people speaking things over me, and I'm not paying $75 for it. She said, no, she said, I just have a message. There's no prophecy. There's no nothing. You don't even have to say anything. I have to share with you what I'm supposed to share with you. This is my calling, is what she said. Well, when she said that, I was like, I kind of like that. All right. And you know how you walk back? You're like, I ain't going to tell her nothing. I ain't going to say nothing. I ain't going to look. I'm a boop, 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 boop. So as I'm sitting there, she says, well, you have 2 guardian angels, and one wants you to know he got his legs back. And when she said it, the hair on the back of my neck stood up. My grandfather had just passed away. He was an amputee. He used to be the police chief in Philadelphia, and diabetes, so he was in a wheelchair. He just passed away. And my grandmother was in the hospital. She was in quarantine at the time, and she goes, well, he's the new one, and he doesn't know if he should go into the light or if he's kind of waiting for someone. And I was like, no! Tell him, leave her alone. We can't lose her too, right? I thought he was waiting on my grandma. And then she says, well, then you have this other guardian angel. She's been around for a very, very long time. And she's specifically with you. She covers you because the place of where you work right now, there's the spirit of an old man, and he leans on you every time you walk in the building, and he's draining your life's energy. And so she is acting as your protective shield right now. And I was a little lost at that one. And she was like, she's older. I feel like she passed. She was over 100. It started coming to me. I had 2 great grandmothers who passed over 100. And she goes, she's saying early, go fish, early. So I used to go to her house in Philadelphia, sit on the floor with my great grandfather and play go fish. His name was Early. And so now I'm bawling and I'm howling. I'm the howler. I'm the howler in the back. The message that she gave to me was, they're saying, number 1, go get a breast exam, which I did, which something came back, but okay, and leave your job now. And I was like, what? How? Which job? I got 2. Which one? And she's like, the job where the spirit of the old man is there. He's leaning on you and he's sucking your life's energy. Every time you walk in, you feel like you can't think. You have brain fog. It's cloudy. Nothing you do is ever perceived to be good. You know, you feel like you're shrinking and you're disappearing. I knew what she was talking about. And I said, but I can't. I have my whole family on my back. Like, what? It will literally ruin us if I leave. And she said, They said you were hard-headed. And I knew that was my granddad. So she said, they're saying that your life literally depends on it. You have to go, and it's going to be all right. You have to go, so prepare yourself. So this was in October. And I said, well, what do I do until then? So she had given me scriptures she said, go to the station every single day in the morning when nobody's there and the building is still. And she taught me how to make holy anointed oil. A psychic taught me this, guys. So I got all the ingredients, put it in a little jar, and I read the biblical scriptures over the doors of my coworkers every morning at about 6 something. The morning show was in there, but I was in there early, walking around reading the scriptures. So they caught me on camera, and I was called in. Hold on. She ain't know none of this. She didn't know none of this. She didn't know none of this. So I'm in the boss's office, and I recognized he was the spirit. I don't know how I could explain it to you, but he was the spirit. It was like within him. And, you know, he was like, I saw you on camera. What were you doing? Why are you every day walking in somebody's office? What are you doing? What are you splashing? I said, holy water. He was so offended. And I said I was told to do that just so that I can have more peace and harmony in my day, right? Guys, within a week, check this out. Look at this. Look at this. Within a week, I was called all the way up to the big boss's office and fired. But with 2 years full pay, with 2 years full pay, 2 years full benefits as well. And I could say that I decided to leave. Where the hell do they do that? Do you know what I was making? And they gave me 2 full years of pay, and they didn't have to, right? So that was nothing but what? God. So I say all that to say, when we make a decision, when we make the decision that we are done with a thing, with a situation, that we are ready to align with our new and what we have been called into, when we decide that we're going to trust and walk on faith and accept what we cannot see, even what we cannot see, right? God will make a way. Baby, I defined my whole real estate brokerage on that first year's salary. And then my first year full-time in real estate, betting on self and doing television, I created and executive produced the next show, Flipping Virgins, right? Started my real estate brokerage. Even then, I had to redefine it again. It's now Indigo Road. But at that time, Egypt Sherrod Real Estate. And I more than tripled in my first year full-time what I made working in radio for somebody else. Hey,
Wow. Every time I talk to you, I'm like, wow. If you're a woman, executive, entrepreneur, or visionary, then this is for you. Are you ready to bring your success full circle? The doors to mastery and momentum are open. This is an exclusive 9-month mastermind for accomplished women who are ready to dream a new dream and step into their next level of purpose. That means, yes, you've already had life and or professional wins, but you're tired of outdated accolades that feel meaningless to you in this season. You want to grow in your thought leadership and introduce the world to the new you, the more aligned you. But you still need guidance in not just knowing what's next, but owning what has to go for you to have it. So whether that's finally writing a book, launching that podcast, hitting that next 6 or 7-figure business milestone, maybe it's leading an initiative in your corporate career, securing that raiser promotion, or planning that exit strategy you've been talking about for a while, Mastery and Momentum is designed to help you create the most powerful, purposeful, and aligned thought leadership of your life. This is a no excuses, just execution space where your purpose can evolve and your next level vision can be birthed. Through live coaching, structured accountability, and proven practical exercises and tools, you'll embrace what I call the principles of abbreviated acceleration to elevate your mindset and action so that you can lead with confidence, conviction, authenticity, and massive impact. This is a selective safe space where success is not optional. It is inevitable. If you're ready to drive transformative change within your personal and professional life, head to masteryandmomentum.com to apply now. That's masteryandmomentum.com. Let's make this your most powerful, aligned, authentic season yet. You are such an example to me of always, though, stepping out on faith. You really are. You are someone who has redefined what life could look like for you over and over again. And so we talk about asking ourselves better questions so that we could stay more aligned with what we genuinely want. What's a question that you ask yourself every time you are thinking about moving in to your next dimension? What do you ask yourself?
What am I going to have to sacrifice? Y'all so funny. Y'all are so funny. Y'all did that like in harmony too. So, what am I going to have to sacrifice? I just said this to you in the back room, right? Yesterday marked the 1-year anniversary of my family of companies, Indigo Road. We're a real estate brokerage, Indigo Road Realty, a full-scale commercial and residential design firm. That's Indigo Road Design Group, and Indigo Road Home Furnishings to be in Macy's and JCPenney in January. Woo! So, and I did it scared.
Thank you for being honest about that, though. What do you mean you did it scared?
Well,
you're Egypt Sherrod. What do you mean you did it scared?
And that's even more reason to be.
Can we talk about that, though?
Yeah, because when people in their minds put you here, when you fall, it's a bigger fall. And sometimes you feel like you have to act like everything's okay. You can't not be okay, you feel like sometimes, because people just kind of expect you to be the one that's always okay. And half the time, this is when they say, check on your strong friends, right? I am that strong friend. I try to be that pillar for my group, for my sisters, for my family. But I sure as hell wish somebody would call check on me, because half the time I'm in my head, you know. I don't know if I live in my head. I plan everything, like my whole world's in my head. And I need somebody to just be like, can you just come have fun, right? Come on, girl, just go to the movie. Girl, if you don't come out and hang out with us tonight on Friday night, like I need somebody to check on me to make sure that I'm not just, what's the word? Like attacking all of my goals, like goal setting, right? Goal getting or whatever, and actually living sometimes, because I do feel that I sacrifice a lot of my personal freedom and my girl time, my fun time for everybody else. I want to make sure everybody's okay. when you're a mama, that kind of inherently comes with it. I have 3 girls, a 5-year-old. What was God doing, y'all? What was God doing? A 23-year-old and a 12-year-old. And they all need something very, very different. Not just physically from me, but they need me to pour into them in a very different way. And it's exhausting, right? But then I run a brokerage, so I got 52 other children who need me to pour into them as well. And I made a promise to show up for those people, so I have to show up. But I still get the same amount of hours, right, in any day. So even as I constantly pray for God to expand my territory, I also have to pray for capacity and bandwidth, because again, it's the same hours. So unless we figure out our better time management, which I'm doing, you're going to be proud of me, I'm a work in progress here, then we start to feel exhaustion. Then it's all in vain anyway. Because now all of this that you built, you actually feel like you're in a prison that you built around yourself.
The pretty prison.
Many people in business for themselves feel that way. Do we have anybody that's an entrepreneur in here? Okay. And so at first it was like amazing and fun, and you had your vision boards and you set up your business name and you created your brand and you told everybody, and then you had to live the work, right? And you recognize that, for my first year or two, I might not make a lot of money. I'm going to pour into my business to grow it and scale it. And then you do that and it all starts to come together. And then you look around and say, when can I get away for a vacation? When can I breathe? You set up a prison for yourself. So now what I am even learning, even now, in my age, in my, however people view me, level of success, I am learning to delegate better, and I'm learning to duplicate myself. So that requires even more of me pouring into other people and then empowering them to step into their greatness. Why? Because if you great, I'm great. I'm on my sofa great.
Right.
If you're great, I want you to be everything. What? Don't hold back. You better get up here and run this
right.
road.
Egypt.
So I can sit back now because my goals are different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just spoke to something I just said earlier. What did I tell you guys about my vision for redefining wealth is growing, right? And it's expanding. And I do want God to increase the territory. But I have to duplicate myself. I have to pour into teaching people, to teach other people about the pillars and how they can use it. And so for me, the same thing. I just announced my very first master coach who's going to partner with me in coaching. She's over there. Her name is Marsha Ann.
Congratulations.
From Jamaica.
That's
and
amazing.
You saying that was confirmation for me too, that I'm also aligned and on the right path. Like this is the time, because we're unlearning things. We've had to unlearn things to get to this point.
Yeah.
For me, because I didn't necessarily have community or other people around. And I didn't always feel safe sharing my struggles in business or entrepreneurship, because people did see me in such a way that I didn't necessarily feel comfortable sharing, which is why I'm so committed to creating spaces and community for other people. Have you had lots of community and support, or you're still unlearning being a Lone Ranger? I
am unlearning that. I wish I learned it sooner. I also wish more people had a spirit of service, because if we did, I would have maybe felt safe when I was younger to ask questions of other women, to tell them what my struggles were instead of putting on a front like I had it all figured out. I did not develop community because I felt that it made me vulnerable. And every time I did try to reach out, I was burned by someone or backstabbed or, and so I think, and we can all relate to that, right? I'm being as honest as I can be up here because I serve no one if I'm not honest, right? So many times, I've even heard women say, I don't trust women. I only work with men. How many of you have heard that? That's so sad. That is so sad to me. But I felt that way as well. And I think that we can't generalize. And it's not women, it's like attracting like. Let that resonate. Ooh. I had not yet become the woman to attract the type of women I wanted in my life. And it works the same. You know, if you want to attract a certain type of love interest in your life, you've got to be that first. It doesn't work the other way around. And that's a universal law that I wish that, you know, we're taught so much in school, but we're not taught nothing in school because
just a bunch of
half
nothing.
the stuff we learned, oh my gosh, you're like, when will I ever use that? I had never done A and B math.
Pythagorean theorem. Theorem. Who uses it?
Universal, finite, karmic law of attraction and manifestation should be something that is taught from the rooter to the tutor. Because, yes, go ahead, you can clap. You can clap.
That's real.
Because it wasn't until that my life started to change. My trajectory, my personal health, my spiritual health. Not until I realized that I start to attract the type of loves in my life that I wanted, that I'd always wanted, that I felt deprived of.
Yeah.
Right? So when I realized that it had to begin from within first, and so many of us travel our years seeking without in other people, in other cities, in other situations. We look for satisfaction and we wind up with really big American Express card bills. But it starts with being still and going deep diving within. When I was willing to get out of my own way and change from the root, from the truth, from the core, from the fabric of my being, when I was willing to do that work and start just with little daily choices and changes, being intentional about who I let in my life, being intentional about how much energy I wasted on things that were really small and meaningless, being very calculated. And that's a good word to use because remember, we only get a certain number of hours, minutes, right, in our day. So being very calculated and mathematical about what type of positive food I was feeding myself. Here, and here, okay? Then I started to see the biggest results of my life. Then and only then. Then I attracted a man who saw my heart first. Then that was the love of my life, who I'm married to. We're together 20 years later, right?
Give it up for Mike. He's so sweet.
Then I was able to see the dark energy coming before it was in my face.
Oh, you don't have to wait for boulders anymore.
Is that what you call it?
That's what we call it, the boulders.
Tell me more.
So we talk about the boulder effect, and most of us have had pebbles. So pebbles come, they're the little whisper, they're the something that says, ooh, that's not right. Maybe not that person. But we don't listen because it's not painful. So we just keep going until we get the rock. And the rock is maybe a little painful, but we've been here before, so we can navigate that. We can romanticize and rationalize and make it seem like it makes sense. And so we keep going until the boulder. And the boulder is usually so big that you can't ignore it anymore. And it's that weight that comes crashing down on you until you are ready to say, like, oh, I have to do something. And we say here at Redefining Wealth, you can't redefine wealth until you experience an awakening. Yeah. And most of us could arise from slumber at the pebble if we were willing to be obedient and actually listen to the whisper. But most of us are hard-headed, including myself. We are hard-headed, and so we don't start to shift at the pebble. We may not even make a shift at the rock. We don't really embrace that it is time to do something until there's a boulder. But we want to become a community of people who learn to honor the still small voice and move at the pebble. Is that me or is that all of us? We want to be people that move at the pebble.
So what about people like me who need a whole planet to land on them? A whole Jupiter just on me before I open my eyes. No, seriously, I was in my 30s before it all made sense, right?
Oh, it's happening every day in our 40s, in our 50s, in our 60s. I think some people die and never had woken up. I think that's very possible. The years going by don't mean anything, because we know people who are our age, and you know that you'll look at people and go, now what in the world is going on here? It's not about the time is going to pass regardless. October 28th, 2025 is coming no matter what you do. October 8th, 2025 is coming. A year is going to pass by. And it's coming no matter what, but who will you be when that day comes is really the thing.
Yeah.
And I think the way that we start to at least determine who we could get to be on that day is based on who we decide to be today.
I love that so very much.
Hey, podcast family, big news. I've just launched a game-changing app designed exclusively for you. It is officially the Redefining Wealth app with Patrice Washington. Now, all of my courses, coaching, live streams, and most importantly, my community are just a tap away, all under one roof. You can download the app now for seamless access to exclusive content and a vibrant community of purpose chasers from all over the world. This is the ultimate hub for all things Patrice Washington and all things redefining wealth. You can search for it in your app store or find the link at redefiningwealth.app. That's redefiningwealth.app. Do not miss out. Your journey to redefining wealth just got a whole lot easier. Download the app today and let's take this adventure of redefining wealth for ourselves to the next level together.
You know, how people often ask you, what would you tell your younger self? Mm-hmm. Right? I don't like when people ask me that because I'm like, you ain't ready for what I would tell my younger self. How much time you got? My younger self, so I was engaged before to a man named I remember that time so vividly in my life. And I had, like, if I could go back, I would go back to just that time, right? Because it was when I allowed someone else to depreciate who I was during that time. I was in a 5-year relationship that I didn't realize was abusive. And I didn't realize it was abusive because he never put his hands on me.
Oh, talk about it.
But it was abusive in every other way that a relationship could be abusive to you, mind, body, and soul, right? And I mean, he had a baby on me and then let me babysit the baby. Why? No, I shouldn't say he let me. I was dumb enough to say, I can stand in that. I own that. But I was also young. Like, he was 8 years older than me, right? He was like this big, you know, had a big profile and handsome. And somehow he brainwashed me into thinking he was the prize and that I was lucky to breathe his air. But that's what you say. I'm gonna throw my shoe at you. We've been there. Like, we all have somebody, right, that turned us inside out. Okay. And so that was my person, turned me inside out of myself. And all the things that I accepted during that time, like, I hate sometimes to even think about it because I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so embarrassed. I'm speaking it right now for the first time, by the way. But all the things that I allowed myself to accept and the narrative that I told myself about why it was okay, that's how I know I was so unhealthy back then. And I needed a me today to have spoken to that me. Yes. I needed this Egypt to have spoken to that Egypt. And so that is why, right, that's why this is necessary. Yeah. That's why these type of communities are necessary. That is also why when we come out of something, it is our responsibility to testify. I know that you probably heard somebody say, like, when you go through hell, you're going to come out on the other side with buckets of water that you're carrying for other people who are still on fire, right? Truer words have never been spoken. And, like, I believe that with every fabric of my being, because when I came up and out of that, I could have knocked myself in the head every day for spending 5 years in it. It was almost like a light bulb went off. Mm-hmm. And it literally took, this is what it took, my mother crying for me, My mother seeing me so broken and so destroyed and so confused about who I was and what I was worth. And we sat down and had a conversation about why. Why did I think that I didn't deserve love? Why did I think that it was okay for a man to totally walk over me and embarrass me and abuse me in such a fashion? And it's always a root, right? Watch this. There's a root. Every ugly tree that we at some point in our life are faced to chop down started out as a seed that was planted at some point. And it started with my own biological father. My mom reminded me, because I forgot, I blocked it out, right? That he was abusive, that he was physically abusive. So at the very root of me, I thought it was normal for women to endure abuse in some regard. So that was a seed planted when I was 5 that I forgot about, okay? Planted. Then over the years, rejection, the seed of rejection, because I would sit in the window when he was supposed to come and pick my sister and I up and wait for him, and he would never come. We would wait Sundays for him to come and pick us up. He wouldn't come. Holidays, he was supposed to come pick us up and would never come. So that seed of rejection and not feeling worthy from the person that's supposed to love you the most.
Yeah.
Right? So these were trees that I had to chop down that had grown, and they really set root in me to where I thought that is exactly what I was supposed to get. And all that I was supposed to get, and all that I was deserving of. Can anybody relate to that?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Who has started chopping down that tree? Who started chopping it down?
Well, today we wrote thank you letters to our younger selves, because just like you just talked about, I used to say, oh, how do I forgive her for staying in something as long as I did, knowing that it was not the best thing for me? What was wrong with me? For all the things that I knew, for as smart as I am, for all the accolades and this and that, why would I stay in a space that did not nurture me? And Dr. Tama Bryant said, you didn't stay because you were insecure. You stayed because you were overconfident. Come back, friend. Come back. Come back.
Well, you just knocked me out with that one.
You stayed because you were overconfident.
Yes.
So I ended up actually having to thank the younger version of myself. I thanked the version of myself that started therapy at 21. I had to thank her. I didn't have to forgive her. I had to thank her. She started therapy, so she started to plant new seeds, right? The version of me that started the Redefining Wealth podcast in 2017, she planted new seeds for me to connect with so many amazing people who could give language to what I was experiencing and teach me words and concepts that I had never heard of in my life. Growing up in Leimert Park, South Central Los Angeles, I had never heard of such terms. I had to start thanking the version of me that became prayer partners with Carly Harvey Raymond. I had to start thanking the versions of me that had done all of this work that started to choke out some of those other seeds at the same time. So I feel like there's some chopping of the trees, but there's also some choking of the roots that has to happen at the same time. Yeah. And so my younger self, I've written letters to her over and over again, but I also just thank her so much. Mm-hmm. And I really thank the versions of younger Egypt, because you are phenomenal, friend.
Thank you. I appreciate you, and I love you. Ain't nothing you could do about that. You know what? I love that you just said that, because it reminded me, for as many times as I've had those, I'll be driving along, and then an old memory will hit me, and I'll be like, almost crash into somebody. Clearly, we're all still a work in progress, right? We all still have hot buttons and triggers and, things that we just have those flashbacks, and we realize we still have work to do, right? So this moment, even though you called me to be here with you, I needed to hear that. Mm-hmm. I needed to hear that so I can remember that in those moments to give myself, the younger myself, some grace, right? Mm-hmm. And then recognize that those things had to happen for me to reach my now, mm-hmm. for me to be here now, standing here now in this moment for who I was called to be, right? Yeah. So I'm going to love on little Egypt more. Yeah. I am going to love on little Egypt more.
I'm glad. I love you, friend.
I
Thank you
love
for
you.
being here.
Thank
Give it
you.
up for Egypt Sherrod. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this conversation. Oh my goodness, didn't I tell you it would be good? You know, Egypt and I could have talked forever and acted like no one was there. We could have gone on and on and on. It was so good. She is the same on camera and off camera. She is the same on mic and off mic, just literally a heart of gold. And I'm just so grateful. I'm beyond grateful for her friendship personally, but also that she would take time out of such a full plate to come and pour into my community. And just like all of our speakers, everyone from Anthony O'Neill to Lindsay Schwartz, Lacey Green, Brooke Hemingway, Maddie James, Deetra Childs, every single person that I asked to support, and even people I didn't ask to support. You recently heard Nikki Klug here on the podcast. I have another friend who's a big deal in the publishing world, and they literally just said, friend, how can I serve? How can I support? And showed up to support me. And I am so grateful, so thankful. The list of all of the sponsors who supported Redefining Wealth, everyone from our presenting sponsor, the Halter Group, to just a long list of sponsors who I will drop in the show notes. Please support them. It takes so much to create an event like this, and we could not have done it without all of their love, support, contribution, sharing, all of the things. And so we want to pour back into them as well as a community. So check out the sponsors. We're going to tag all of them in this episode's show notes. And next week, I'm going to come back and do more of a recap on Redefining Wealth. And I really hope it blesses you. I'm still on a high. I'll probably still be on that afterglow kind of high for another few weeks because it was just that good. But thank you all if you were there. Thank you for being there. Thank you for trusting in me. Until next week, I want you to go live your life's purpose, find fulfillment, and earn more without ever chasing money. We'll talk to you later.